Hey there, Dave Gardner here, and in this video we're going to talk about how you can actually see who sponsored who when it comes to LiveGood, and as you're seeing your team grow and you're maybe not sure who is actually sponsoring people, or you're wondering how those numbers are growing, where the numbers are coming from, there's a couple simple ways in which you can do that. And so what you want to do first, you really want to see where your numbers are at. And so there's a couple different ways. One way, if you go down to where it says My Earnings, if you click on My Earnings on the left, or maybe if you're on your phone, you can do the drop down to My Earnings, and you'll actually see how much you're making each week. And so I've made anywhere from $25 to $130 so far, pretty consistently week after week, because I am actively sponsoring people since I've been active and since I joined in the end of January 2023. And so if you click View Rank, when you see the rank, you'll actually see how many people you have sponsored and also how many people you need or your team needs towards the next level. And so, for example, I have currently sponsored 28 out of the 30 that I need to go gold. Now, in actuality, I've really sponsored 32. 3 of them, I believe, 2 of them definitely canceled. One of them, maybe there was a payment issue, and the other one is trying to fix their payment. And so their numbers went down a little bit. But also, we see the team numbers. So of my active people, I have 28 active people that I have personally sponsored, but my team is showing that I have 40 people total. And so the question is, okay, well, how do I figure out where those people are coming from? Well, actually, on that same page, you can actually start to see where some of the numbers are coming from and who is actually being an active promoter. And so, for example, if we look at all these zeros here as we're going through, I know everything just turned blue there, but all these zeros here and all these ones, these zeros represent that person has not has not officially sponsored anyone yet. So their team size really just is themselves. And so they have a team of 1. And so when we look at these people right here, Shirley and James, they've each sponsored 1, but notice their numbers are different because Shirley sponsored 1 person, so in addition to herself, she has 1 person underneath her. So her total team is 2 people. Now James sponsored someone, and then that person also sponsored someone. And so James is on my first level, and the other person is on the second level, or second generation, and that other person's on the third generation. So in addition to James and the person he sponsored, there's also another person that was sponsored by that person, if that makes sense. If we look at Marcy sponsored 2 people plus herself makes 3. Don has sponsored 3 plus himself makes 4. Then if you look at Raman, sponsored 2, but his total team is 5. Or their total team is 5. To be honest, I don't know if Raman is a male or female. I've only gotten some emails and text message responses, so I apologize for that. But that concept, Raman actually sponsored 2 people, and one of those members also sponsored 2 individual people as well. So in addition to those 2 people that were sponsored by someone else, he has his own 2 people and then himself. So there's 5. But the question is, who are the people? If you actually want to know who the people are, there's another way where you can actually see that. And so if we actually go to where it says My Team over on the left, if you do the drop down to your team, you'll actually see what your matrix is starting to look like and where they're filling up. And that's another way in place where you can actually hover and see who sponsored who. And so what we have to remember is that the matrix only fills every Thursday night. And so at Thursday at midnight Pacific Standard Time, anyone that has been a pre-enrolled member and upgraded to a paid status in that time frame from a Friday morning through the next Thursday night, they then get entered into the matrix into the highest available position that's open in their sponsors matrix. And that takes place first. So you don't really know exactly where those people are going to fall. There is a pattern to it, but obviously if people underneath people are enrolling, then some places might get skipped because they're going to be filled by that person that's at a lower rank. And so if you look down at the bottom of the screen, you can see the person's details, but also their enroller. So for example, when we hover over most of these, the enroller status stays the same on all of these because I sponsored pretty much everyone in the first 3 levels. But if we go down here, what I was talking about, we click on, for for example, James, I mentioned, James sponsored a member who then sponsored another member. So a lot of these here, again, you notice that I'm still the enroller as we hover over them. There I am, there I am, there I am. But the person that James sponsored was actually right here. So notice now when you see the enroller, James is that sponsor. And so when we look at this, Adewale, if we click on Kazim's account, that will put Kazim at the top. And if we go over to where Adewale is, notice we see that Adewale was sponsored by James. But now when we go to this person, we see that this is a totally different James, ironically. A totally different James was actually sponsored by Adewale. So you can go through your matrix and you can click back and forth and you can actually see who sponsored who in this process. And so if we go back a little bit, I want to show you, another example of what I was talking about before, where other people sponsored other people. And so, for example, Marcy, I just want to make sure I'm in the right spot on my matrix. I have a drawing of it over here as well. So I don't know how well this will show up, but I actually printed out a little matrix and I've just been kind of filling in, and you can see some different colors there just to kind of get an idea of who sponsored who. And so I just want to make sure I'm in the right spot here. So this, I believe, is Marcy's underneath, and we're going to go underneath and check. Yeah, okay. So notice again, Marcy, I sponsored Marcy, so you can see that her name is there, and then the enroller is me. But Marcy then sponsored these two people. So now you see the enroller is Marcy here. If I hover over that one, Marcy sponsored those two. And then I ended up sponsoring more people. So my whole level underneath Marcy was full. It then starts to fill the next level. So the only place people can go is it starts trickling underneath. And so then I sponsored, a few people last week, and Don was one of them. And then Don has come in and has really taken some action. And so notice Don is sponsored by me. But when we look at these two, both Thomas and Peter have been sponsored by Don. So you can hover over those people and you can actually see who their sponsor is. So that's one of the major ways where you can figure out who sponsors who just by looking at the team. The other way is to look at the matrix enroller tree and the matrix list. So if we click on view enroller tree, when we scroll down, what we'll notice is how many people that we have. So notice, like I said earlier in the video, I've personally sponsored 32, but there were a couple people, excuse me, apologize for that. There were a couple people that decided it wasn't for them. They're just only going to be a retail customer. Maybe they'll buy the products, but they're not going to be an affiliate. They didn't want to pay the membership fee. And so a couple of them have backed out, and a couple of them are also just verifying or maybe upgrading. Maybe they need to put more money on their debit card, whatever it was. So I have 28 that are active, and then 9 other people have been sponsored by me that are active this month, just in April. But this is just the first level. So if we scroll down, we only see ones over here on the left because these are all personal people. They're on my first generation because I personally sponsor them. But if I want to go down and see 2 levels, I want to see who they sponsored down 1 level. Notice now we'll start to see there's a 2 there and a 2 there. There's a couple 2s there, couple 2s there. And so what we can see is who is sponsoring who. And so, for example, I mentioned James. So all of these are 1s. And then when you see the 2s, you're looking for the person right up above them. So Adewale was actually sponsored by James. If we go down to the next 2, Lynn and Christine were both sponsored by Marcy. You go down to the next set of 2s, Deepika and Rohit were both sponsored by Raman. And then Don sponsored so far Thomas, Peter, and Raphael. Also, Shirley sponsored Earl. Okay, so when you're looking and you see those 2s, the person right above them is the person who sponsored them. And what we can do, we can actually see as many as 6 levels, or I believe you could even go farther and farther and farther depending on how well it goes. I know the 6 might be the max, but right now I'm showing all 6. So once you choose that, you do have to click Change View. And once that refreshes, notice the numbers also changed. And so the new affiliates, earlier we saw that it was 9 because that's what I brought in, but really there was other people. So other people are duplicating and they're sponsoring people as well into LiveGood, which is an awesome scenario. And so notice now we see the number 1, 2, 3. So in reality, James was the official sponsor that was on my first generation, but he sponsored Adewale, and Adewale actually sponsored James. That's why James is a 3rd level to me, because he's really in James' 2nd level and he would be in my 3rd level. And so if we go down, again, Marcy was the 1 and 2. Notice I mentioned Ramen earlier, sponsored 2 people. So there's this number 2 and this number 2. But then Topeka came in and sponsored both Ria and Rahana. And so you can see multiple levels down. And so that's just another way that you can actually verify and see who the sponsor is. The enroller is in the middle. So again, you see my name, and then we see James, and we see Adewale. So you can actually see who sponsored who. And again, so number 1, 2, and 3, James was sponsored by me. Adewale was sponsored by James. And then a different James was sponsored by Adewale. If we go down, again, you can see who sponsored who in there. Like I said, all you had to do is click on, if we go back to where we were. Originally, we clicked on my team. You're going to see your matrix. And then I believe, let me just go back to that actually, because we've gone back and forth here, looking and changing the number. So from my team, again, you want to click View Enroller Tree. And once you're on the enroller tree, then you can scroll down and see who those people were. Again, if you want to see multiple levels, just click the level and then choose how many levels deep you want to see. Click Change View, and you will start to see all the different numbers that will show up and actually see what level people are on, and not necessarily what level, what generation they're in. Okay, so it's not the level. So some of these people might be in your, so for example, if we look at Don's, Don sponsored these 3 people. I believe if I count over on my sheet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This person, I think it's this person right here, Raphael, is actually in my 7th level. There's only 2 people that can maximum fit in your first level. It doubles to 4, it doubles to 8, doubles to 16, doubles to 32, 64, 128, 256, whatever, 552, whatever the math is. So it just keeps doubling, and you can determine where those are. So even though they're a second generation, they're actually many, many levels deep. So it really doesn't matter where people end up on your matrix. You can actually earn affiliate commissions from the team depth and the team group. And so when Don sponsored these people, I actually earned, or I will be, because they were in this week. Next week in payment, I'll be earning a commission. So I want to show you one right here. So this one that was brought in, James brought in Adewale. And so if we go back to the commissions and my earnings, I'm going to open that in a new tab just so we can come back to this. But when you look at your earnings, you can actually click on the earnings. These are active live links. And so this last week I made $130. And so when we click on this, notice it's broken down into 2 parts, the membership referral bonus and the affiliate referral bonus. So when you join LiveGood, there's 2 fees to pay in the beginning. Number 1 is a one-time $40 registration fee to become an affiliate. That means you're going to be able to promote and earn commissions. And when you sponsor someone, you earn a 50% commission of that. So you actually get $20 for every person you sponsor. The other thing on the first month is a fast start bonus. The first month, in addition to joining at the $40 registration, you also have either the choice of choosing $9.95 a month to be a member of LiveGood, or you can save some money and pay $99 for the whole year, and you're basically saving $20. But when they pay it, they're paying it as though it's a $9.95, and they're giving you a $5 commission. So that's about 50% of that first month. On the second month and thereafter, what happens is those people, because they're part of the matrix, that becomes part of the matrix bonus after in their second month forward. Anyone that is in your matrix from the second month forward, you get 25 cents per person. And so, if you've been seeing things that you can earn up to $2,000 without ever having sponsored a person, that is possible, but I'm going to be straightforward to you. It's very unlikely. And so I'm going to just show you this, and hopefully this will make sense. I don't know how clear this will come up, but when we look at these numbers, and I'll try to make it as straight as we can, those numbers keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And, we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of people to get down to where you would be. So in order for you to make that $2,000, there has to be 8,000 people, or actually more than 8,000 people in your matrix. And so you could make a portion of that. Okay, you don't have to get to a certain amount and then you start making that money. If you have 4 people under you, you would make $1 bonus at the end of the month. If you had 40 people, it would be a $10 bonus. 400 people would be a $100 bonus. 4,000 would be a $1,000 bonus. And then obviously the 8,000 is a $2,000 bonus. And there's obviously mathematical values that are all in between there. And so what I wanted to show you though is the referral bonus and the membership bonus are basically the same in my case because it's the same 5 people. And so I enrolled 5 people over the course of, this previous week. So notice, it was between these days, the 8th and the 14th. And you always get paid on the following Thursday. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, when people join throughout the week, they get placed in the matrix on a Thursday night. You don't get paid as long as they join on that week. You get paid on the following Thursday. There is a 7-day refund or basically guarantee period. If someone comes in and decides they don't want it, they can then refund and cancel their account, ask for a refund, and have that money pulled back so that they don't have any fees on their card. And so 7 days later, you get paid. So anyone that joins during a week and then gets placed in the matrix Thursday, you get paid on them the following Thursday. And so notice what happens here. You get, like I said, it's a 50% commission of that $40 registration fee. So notice I'm getting $20, $20, $20, $20, $20. But notice I also have notice because I'm not the enroller. I said James sponsored Adewale. So James got a $20 commission this week, and I got a $4 commission. He got a 50% take, and I got a 10% take. That goes down incrementally. Next week, Adewale is going to get paid on the person he sponsored this week. But because Adewale is in my 3rd level or my 2nd level, and then the person he sponsored is in my 3rd level, I believe it goes down to 5%. So I'll actually get $2 for someone that was sponsored by someone else. Okay, so this is where you have to realize the power and the potential and the value of what can happen as people continue to sponsor people underneath you, and as we continue to grow as a company, as we continue to grow worldwide. We're expanding into multiple countries. We just heard that there is going to be opening and licensing and distribution centers in places like Nigeria, or that will help distribute to places like Nigeria, Kenya, and other parts of Africa. I'm not sure where the distribution center will actually be located, but these things are huge because people are wanting businesses like this worldwide that are low cost, that don't require you to purchase product. Obviously, we recommend you purchase product. The products are great. I've ordered 4 different times. If we go in there just to show proof, here's my order history. I'm just putting everything out there plain and hunky-dory here, whatever. I've ordered 4 different times. This first order was my membership order because I did the year. Again, it was $40 and I took the $99. So 40 plus $99 is $139. But I've ordered 4 different times. You get tracking. And so, for example, if we look at the print receipt, we can see what I ordered here. And if we go through and open this, my computer will work. I want to cancel. I don't want to print. I just want to look at it. And so look, I got the multivitamins. I got the plant-based proteins. I did the super greens, the super reds. I did an energy boost. And then we had shipping obviously involved. Now notice again the prices: $9.95 for the vitamins, $22 for protein, $18 for super greens, energy, and super reds. These are things, the multivitamins alone, I was paying $60 a bottle, 60 at another company. Now even if you came in as a member versus a customer versus a member, let's say you didn't want to pay the $9.95 a month or the $99 for the year, and you just wanted to buy the vitamins, I believe the vitamins are like $18. That's still a million times better than the $60 I was paying in a different company. So the prices are amazing here. The taste, I've enjoyed the products. Like a lot of times, what I'll do is mix a bunch of them. I prefer the vanilla protein with the super greens and super reds. I mix them all together. Sometimes I'll add some other vanilla protein shake into it, or a different chocolate protein, just to have a nice, real rich flavor. But again, just the vanilla protein has been my favorite so far. So again, I've ordered 4 different times from the company. So people are actually buying product worldwide. It's shipping worldwide. They're actually getting the shipments a lot faster now because there's a distribution center in Germany. And like I mentioned, there's one that's going to be opening up in Africa. And as teams continue to grow, we'll likely be licensing them in other places as well. So again, big picture, finding out who sponsored who. If you go to my team first and then click the enroller tree. The other thing we can do, I believe, bear with me. I believe there's another way. If we do the matrix view list, I think we can also see something that way too. We can scroll. Yeah, so when we scroll down, notice I can actually see my tree. So, for example, I mentioned there's only 2 positions below you and then each of those 2 have 2, and then again it just keeps doubling, doubling, doubling. And so my first 4 levels are completely full. 2 doubles to 4, 4 doubles to 8, 8 doubles to 16. And now there's trickling because I sponsored some of the people in here, but then there was also some of the people here that sponsored some, and then, you know, one person here sponsored a handful in here, and then even they sponsored one. So we're starting to grow levels in depth, which is really nice. People are starting to duplicate. And so this is another way. If you scroll down, you'll actually be able to see where all these people are and what level they're on. And so this, what this does, this is a different way to interpret it. So James is at the top left of my matrix, and then we have Moses. And then we have Angel, Mark. What that is that's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 going down the outside leg of James. And then even Mr. Kanazawa is the 5th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going, if we're like at an angle down the outside, going that way. And then there's other ones that start to fit in there too. And so I'm just trying to remember in my head where these people are, you know, the other 4, the 3, the more 4s. So all of these people are really under James in his levels in different positions. And so I was trying to find the other 2, and one of the other 2s might have been one of the ones that I mentioned had an issue with their payment. So right now their position might be in limbo. And so that's why we had a 3, and then there's another 3, then we get some more 4s. So the 3, and then there's, you know, 4, 5, and then 4. Those are underneath. I believe these are all underneath Angel. So this 4, 5, and 4 are underneath Angel, and then it comes back to 3 again, and then the 2 underneath Sherry right there. Then it comes back to 2 again. There's my other 2. Then my other 2, this 2 right here is at the same level as this 2. Okay, now that may be confusing, but if we can remember the names Ethel and Moses, if we go back over here, I will pull this up again, looking at the team, just to, again, try to pull out and make some sense of it. So right now I mentioned those were on the second level. This is my first, James, but I mentioned the name Moses. So if you look down there, you can see Moses. And if we scroll over here, you see Ethel. So those are the 2. And then for Moses, for his 3, we see Angel and Sherry. Angel and Sherry are on my 3rd, but they're underneath Moses. So if we go back to where Moses was again, there's Moses. Like I said, Angel was a 3, and then Sherry was a 3. But then under Angel, Angel has a 4 and a 5, Mark and Mr. Kanazawa. So if we clicked on Angels, what it does is Angel will go to the top, and we see Mark under Angel. Angel was on that level. We see Mark, and then we see Rudy, and then we see Kanazawa. And so, like I said, underneath Angel is Mark, there's Rudy, and then there's Kanazawa. So this one is kind of goes in order of like following one leg, and then it comes back again, and then it follows another leg, and then it continues to follow through. So this one might be a little more difficult to determine who sponsored who, but it does show where everyone is kind of in order in what level. I would focus on this one last, but it does show you where they exist, and it does show you who sponsored them. So for example, we mentioned I have people all the way down to the 7th level. We see their sponsor was Don. Okay, you know, I have Christine on the 4th level, sponsored by Marcy. These people are sponsored by me. On the 5th level, Topeka, sponsored by Ramen, so on and so forth. So like I said, there's a couple different ways to look at it. I would recommend, going back to the enroller tree first. That's one way. As you just scroll through like we were doing, you can just hover over a name. If we just hover over any name, as I mentioned as well earlier in this video, you can actually see who it is. And again, one of the things to remember is that these, again, only get placed every Thursday night after 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So when you wake up Friday morning, you'll actually see if you have anyone placed. Now, at my level, because I've been kind of keeping ahead or pacing ahead and faster than my sponsor or my sponsor, remember, they're filling in massive levels. I was told by my sponsor that I was actually on his 8th level when I filled in. So he had a lot of growth in his, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th levels were all full. I made it into the 8th level. At the 8th level, I circled it here. I don't know if you can see the numbers, but on the 8th level, and I'm going to try to get that close where my finger is. Sorry, over here. 8th level, I'm doing this backwards. 8th level, there's 500 people. Sorry, yeah, a total of 500 people, but the 8th level across, actually, if you wanted to fill up every single box in the 8th level, that's 256 people. So I'm somewhere in there, but as I've continued to go, I now have my first 4 levels done. So in addition to the 8th, where I am, then the 9th, the 10th, 11th, and the 12th levels of my section are now filled. And so at the 12th level, to fill the 12th level, now what would be the 13th level, my sponsor, if I were to rely on my sponsor alone and put, say, oh, it's my sponsor's fault that I didn't get any spillover, he would have to sponsor 8,000 people because 12 levels down is a row of 4,096. And that's kind of insane. Now, that would be awesome if he could do it, but there's also other members that are also growing between me and my sponsor that will eventually start to trickle in. I might bring in people that really start to grow fast. And so that's the key thing. Another thing, again, you want to mention and keep in mind, spillover is a great bonus, and that's what it is, and that's what it should only ever be considered, is a bonus. You should not come in and guarantee spillover. Obviously, if you're one of the first or second people, maybe the first 5, first 10 people, and you're in those first 2 or 3 levels, and you're working with a big name person, then obviously they might put a lot of people underneath you, and you're fortunate enough to get in a spot that's higher up when you're working with them. But the key thing is, if you want to make some better money in or better commissions in LiveGood, highly recommend start sharing your tour link. It's a really reasonably priced company. Like I said, it's only $40 a one-time registration fee, and then you can choose to either do $9.95 a month or the $99 a year, and you'd be all set, and you can forget about it, not have to worry about it, and then just get rebilled the next year and just let it grow. Okay, that's the key thing. Whether you're promoting other things or promoting this alone, we are okay. We're not gonna like be up your backside or on your case like a lot of other companies do and say that you can have a non-compete clause and you can't do this and you can't promote that. You can pretty much promote whatever you want, but obviously we would like you to promote this. I do other stuff on the back end. I build my own list. I do marketing tools. I do marketing training. I teach high school. So obviously I have a job. I have a backup plan, but this is the growth. This is what I'm looking for. I am in it to win it, and I'm in for the long term, and we continue to grow. We're putting in anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 people. Last week we had a day where there was 7,000 members that joined in one day worldwide, because some people are joining in certain countries that may have had a big team, and they're bringing them all over, and then they have massive wealth and massive spreading. So you're seeing people rank up fast because they had teams, because they had lists. And you could go through, maybe if one of those people gets placed below you, all of a sudden, maybe now you have a massive list that starts to grow, and you're wondering, well, where'd all these people come from? Well, then you can follow what you learned in this video and see who sponsored who. So hopefully you found some value. Make sure you like the button, or hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you know when I put out more videos, not only in LiveGood, but also I will promote and I talk about other products that will benefit you for running any business. And again, just to build your list. That's the key thing. When a lot of people come in that grow fast, they have a list. You want to make sure you're building a list at the same time and make sure you have the right tools to do that. So hopefully you found some benefit. Leave any comments or questions below. I'm always willing to ask or answer, anything that you ask me. So again, this has been Dave Gardner, and I look forward to seeing your success with LiveGood. Thanks. Bye.